Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Honghuang. Apprentice Western Cult, Are You Crazy? Reborn in the wilderness, Heng became an acquired spiritual bamboo, with shallow feet and weak Taoist behavior. He also happened to encounter the 6 saints who were preaching and widely accepting disciples. He knew that in this world, the greatest opportunity was to become a disciple of a saint and have a great religion as a support. However, Taiqing did nothing and only valued fate when accepting apprentices. At the beginning, emphasis was placed on following one's footsteps, while apprenticeship emphasized the importance of having a proper root and a red seedling. Tongtian is rebellious, and his disciples have a tendency to kill. They are fierce and aggressive, and they will also suffer from the baptism of the apocalypse of the gods in the future. The disciples who cut off their teachings are destined to become the victims of the Great Apocalypse. Moreover, as a Western creature, Heng instinctively would be rejected by the East. Only Western religions, such as Zhunti and Jieyin Hushort, were the only winners during the period of enfeoffment. In the future, during the flourishing period of Western religion, there will still be a day when one can become a Buddha and become an ancestor. So, Heng went through countless hardships and finally became a disciple of the guidance saint. From then on, there was an additional 3rd-generation Buddha in the West, and Buddhism flourished, starting from him. P.S. No system, disciples of the 3 teachings are tired of watching, you can come to Kangkang here. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 001. Apprentice the West and Lead the Disciples. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 001. Apprentice the West and Lead the Disciples. In the vast western continent, mountains and valleys rise and fall, and countless peaks and ridges resemble a sword sea, towering in all directions. On the perilous cliffs, there are Qianko Yaohua embellishments on the mountains and seas, lush bamboo and pine forests scattered everywhere, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth transformed into auspicious clouds, covering the vast and boundless earth. On the Lingshan mountain, whirling pagodas surround each other, surrounded by the magnificent the Sakyamuni Hall, and the sound of Sanskrit chanting is heard all over the world. At the side hall of the Sakyamuni Hall, a man in a dark yellow Taoist robe sits on the auspicious clouds. His sword eyebrows, starry eyes, and face were like crown jewels, exuding a peaceful aura in his expression. The ethereal Buddhist charm enveloped his whole body, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth washed through his limbs and bones, refining the void of the primordial spirit. Bang! With a muffled sound coming out, the man exuded a celestial aura all over his body, and his surging breath shook the void in all directions. Wow, after practicing for a long time, I have finally broken through the realm of immortality. Heng sighed, his eyes shining brightly, his face showing a hint of joy, but his thoughts were lost in memories. Heng was originally a blue star person, but due to an accident, his soul traveled to a desolate world and became a post-apocalyptic golden bamboo in the western continent. The world of the wilderness is full of dangers, and even a slight mistake can lead to death, but it also contains countless opportunities. If one can become an immortal and attain enlightenment, they can enjoy endless longevity, which was a luxury in their past lives. Therefore, when Heng found out that he had entered the world of chaos, there was a hint of joy in his heart. The only thing that made Heng feel regretful was that when he entered the wasteland world, the western land had already been self-destructed by Luo Ting, causing the West to become extremely barren and with very few living beings. In addition, his heel is not strong, and he can only rely on his instincts to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, striving to transform and emerge earlier. Fortunately, when Hua was born, he happened to coincide with Sanqing, Zhunti, Jieyin, and others who had established their teachings and become saints, and were preparing to accept their disciples. You should know that the sage's spiritual essence relies on the heavenly way, capable of immortality and immortality, enduring countless tribulations without grinding, and being unaffected by cause and effect. The sage widely recruited disciples, but this was not a chance, so Heng naturally wanted to worship the sage as his teacher. As long as one joins the sect of the sage, there is a glimmer of security for oneself. With the identity of a sage disciple alone, one can make cultivators of all races wary. If one can learn the teachings of the sage, there is still a chance to glimpse the supreme path and roam freely between heaven and earth. After careful consideration for his own way out, Heng ultimately chose to worship Western religions and became a disciple of the guiding sage. In his past life, Western Christianity may have been criticized by the world, but Heng could only make the most suitable choice based on his own conditions. The sage of Taiqing is quiet and inactive, and when he accepts disciples, he only values the relationship between master and disciple. If there is no master-apprentice relationship, even if you have exceptional intelligence and excellent skills, he will not be accepted into the sect. Throughout the development of human education, the sages of the Qin dynasty only accepted Xuandu as their disciple from beginning to end. Many powerful cultivators, who were pushing their heads to seek apprenticeship, did not return without success. It is obvious that Heng has no connection with the saints of the Qin dynasty as a master and disciple, and he is unable to join the human religion at all. Heng wanted to join the Chan sect, but in the beginning, when the Heavenly Lord accepted his disciples, he valued his followers the most and emphasized the importance of having a correct root and a red seedling. As long as you are strong in your feet and have a transcendent understanding, it can be said that joining the Chan teachings is easy, but conversely, it is extremely difficult. Heng is just a follower after birth, where can he enter the eyes of Yuanshi Tianzuan? Even if he wants to join the Chan sect, he has no chance. As for the Jiejiao founded by the leader of Tongtian sect, Heng had also thought about it, but soon abandoned it. Although it is easy to become a disciple of Jiejiao, as long as you have the heart to follow the Tao, you can easily become a disciple. But most of the disciples of Jiejiao are demon tribes, who have a tendency to kill and are fierce and aggressive, and they carry an unknown amount of karma. Once he enters the martial arts world, relying solely on fighting among his peers will make him extremely anxious. He has no intention of practicing enlightenment. Moreover, in the near future, Jiejiao will suffer from the baptism of being a deity. Even if you are the great Luo Golden Immortal, you may be listed as a deity and become a sacrifice under the measure of calamity. As a sage of the heavenly way, the leader of the Tongtian sect was burdened by the karma of his disciples who had intercepted the teachings, which led to him being imprisoned in the Zixiao palace after the end of his divine enfeoffment, let alone others. Heng did not believe that by practicing the pure immortal method in the teachings of the sect, he could reverse the fate of the downfall of the sect. He did not have the ability and confidence to do so, so he naturally did not dare to become a disciple of the heavenly sage. Moreover, Pangu Sanqing had prejudice against Western creatures, and as long as Heng was tainted with the word West, the former could not accept him as his disciple. Heng was unable to join the Sanqing sect and could only think about Western religions. Although Western religions often have insults, there is no stain on anyone's body. Even Pangu Sanqing and Nyuhua have their own shortcomings. After Nyuhua created the human race, she no longer cared about the life and death of the human race. She had the title of the Holy Mother of the human race, but allowed the human race to rise and fall on its own. Taiqing established a religion based on the human race and enjoyed the worship of the human race, but ignored the human race's misfortunes and never sheltered them. The heavenly sovereign of the Yuan dynasty disregarded the face of the sage and bullied the small with great things. Is this behavior the behavior of the sage? The leader of the Tongtian sect, due to his own selfish motives, intends to destroy the vast world and cause countless suffering to all beings of all ethnic groups. Kangkang was known as the authentic Pangu sect, but in the end, they ended up fighting against each other as brothers, and the sect was almost destroyed. On the other hand, Zhunti and Jieyin have made many efforts and paid a huge price in order to prosper the West. The most crucial thing is that Zhunti and Jieyin successfully flourished in the West, and even spread Buddhism to the East, truly achieving great prosperity. Joining the Western religion, there will be no conflicts among fellow disciples. As long as he can survive the divine tribulation, he will definitely achieve great prosperity when he travels to the West. At that time, perhaps he will have a chance to become a Buddha and become his ancestor. Compared to the four Western religions of Man, Chan, Duan, and the West, Heng naturally prefers to worship the West. Moreover, those who aspire to become masters are not qualified to pick and choose. Being able to become a master is not bad, and they are also considering weighing the pros and cons. Of course, it is not an easy task to become a member of Western Christianity. Heng stumbled and went through countless hardships all the way to worship the two saints of the West, and finally arrived at the foot of Ling Mountain. He tried his best to pass the test of attracting saints, and eventually became a disciple of the Western lineage by learning from them. Among the billions of living beings in the wilderness, only 6 saints were born, none of whom possessed great wisdom, great fortune, and great perseverance. I am fortunate enough to be able to take on the guidance of saints as my teacher. In the future, all I need to do is practice well, so why bother with others' opinions? Heng comforted and felt deeply moved in his heart. Since becoming a disciple of the sage, he has been practicing the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra for hundreds of years, and his spiritual cultivation has only been elevated to the realm of immortality. P.S. First update, upload new books, kneel down for collection, as well as flowers and review tickets. Few people in Western education write about it, I wonder if anyone has read it. Chapter 002. Accompanying Treasure, Senior Brother of the Same Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 002, Accompanying Treasure, Senior Brother of the Same Sect. Heng restrained his thoughts and felt the mystery of the heavenly realm. He only felt his whole body full of energy and spirit, with the majestic magic power washing through his limbs and bones. The ethereal Buddhist rhyme sublimated his divine consciousness, and his elemental spirit condensed into a substance and sat in the sea of consciousness. Buzz. Suddenly, Heng's primordial spirit trembled slightly, emitting a purple and golden light that illuminated the entire sea of consciousness space. As if something flew out of the primordial spirit, the divine consciousness fell into a trance. As the radiance gradually converged, a glass-like jade mirror appeared in front of Heng. I saw that the glass and jade mirror presented a purple-golden color throughout, with the mirror surface engraved with Hongmeng Dao patterns, outlining the scenery of the sun, moon, stars, and all things in the mountains and rivers. The jade mirror emits a majestic Dao rhyme, revealing the infinite phenomena of yin and yang, the 3 talents and 4 symbols, the 5 elements and 8 trigrams, the 7 stars and 9 palaces, and other great realms, obscuring the heavenly mechanisms in all directions. A terrifying pressure that is no weaker than the treasure, hidden within the jade mirror, flows with a powerful force that intimidates people's hearts and minds. Well, what is this jade mirror? How could it fly out of my primordial spirit? Heng looked at the jade mirror in front of him with a puzzled expression on his face. Since his cultivation, he has never noticed any abnormality in his elemental spirit. I didn't expect that when my cultivation broke through the realm of immortals, there would be a jade mirror flying out of the elemental gods. Can you say that this is my companion magic weapon? In the wilderness, there are treasures born with cultivators, but none of them are powerful and powerful. Heng is not strong in handling things, and he never imagined that he would have a companion treasure one day. Nowadays, the glass and jade mirror flying out of his primordial spirit made Heng feel that it was his companion treasure. Heng secretly guessed that his divine sense was enveloping the jade mirror, searching for its information. Is this the name of Hongmeng's martial arts performance mirror? It's actually a rare treasure from heaven and earth. After investigation, Heng finally found out that the jade mirror in front of him was called Hongmeng Yanwu mirror, and it was also his companion magic weapon, and he also knew its purpose. The Honghuang martial arts performance mirror is a rare treasure belonging to heaven and earth. It is an auxiliary treasure, and its main function is to perform martial arts. As long as you incorporate techniques, supernatural powers, formations, and other things into it, you can practice martial arts on your own and assist others in quickly comprehending. It's like the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra practiced by Heng, which came from the hands of the guiding sage. As long as you put it into the Honghuang martial arts practice mirror to practice martial arts, it will present itself and lead the sage to practice this technique. And Heng only needs to follow the process of practicing martial arts, which is equivalent to the sage teaching him in hand how to cultivate the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra. In this situation, even if Heng's heel is not strong, he can quickly cultivate the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra, allowing his own strength to rapidly improve. Similarly, if Heng obtains powerful divine powers and spells from other saints and puts them into the Honghuang martial arts practice mirror to practice martial arts. So, Honghuang's performance in the martial arts mirror will reveal that those who have the deepest understanding and mastery of this divine power and magic are in the process of performing martial arts divine power. And what Heng needs to do is just to practice step by step, so that he can cultivate his divine abilities to a perfect level without worrying about his comprehension. If the formation is placed in the Honghuang martial arts practice mirror, it can also be used for martial arts practice, allowing Heng to quickly understand the corresponding formation. In summary, as long as Honghuang has a martial arts mirror in hand, he can perform all things and assist himself in quickly understanding the Tao. This Honghuang practice martial mirror is completely a cheating tool for cultivation. Whether it is a technique, divine power, formation, or cultivation insight, one can perform martial arts. If I could have discovered the existence of Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror earlier, I would definitely have rapidly improved my cultivation, and I wouldn't have reached the realm of immortality until now. After learning about the powerful effects of the Honghuang martial arts mirror, Heng's expression became extremely joyful, but he complained in his heart that he discovered it too late. If he discovers the existence of Honghuang's martial arts mirror when he undergoes transformation, he can assist himself in his cultivation earlier. With Honghuang's martial arts mirror and martial arts sage cultivation method, even if he has only practiced for hundreds of years, his cultivation level is likely to have been elevated to the level of a true immortal. The effectiveness of Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror is so powerful, perhaps it is that it takes me into the vast world. Since I have discovered the Honghuang martial arts mirror, which happens to be the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra, how effective is its martial arts performance? Heng restrained his thoughts and immediately wanted to try, practicing the infinite Maitreya Sutra for 3 lifetimes. However, in the next moment, a mighty bell suddenly rang through the Ling Mountain, interrupting Heng's thoughts. Dang! The sound of the mighty bell rang 6 times in a row, and the sound of the yellow bell, like that of a great LV, enveloped the entire Lingshan. Upon hearing the sound of the bell, Heng exclaimed in surprise, "The bell rings 6 times. This is the master summoning disciples from the sect. Oh, how did I forget? Master said hundreds of years ago that he would preach to everyone in 500 years, and calculating the time would be today hundreds of years ago, after the end of the recruitment and reception of disciples. Zhunti and Jieyin warned Western disciples such as Heng that they would preach for the first time in 500 years. Now, Heng has been in seclusion for hundreds of years, coinciding with the time to be allowed to speak and receive lectures. The sage's preaching has no chance. Even if you only understand 1 sentence, it can withstand hundreds of years of hard work. If one has a deep understanding, perhaps they can also achieve a smooth breakthrough in their own cultivation. The sage preaches without any chance, and it is also the first time that the master and uncle have preached. I absolutely cannot be absent. As for the infinite Maitreya Sutra of the 3 generations of martial arts, let's try it later. Anyway, with the Honghuang martial arts mirror in hand, it's the same at any time. Heng made up his mind to take Honghuang Yanwu mirror back to Zhihai and immediately walked to the Sakyamuni Hall. In a moment, Heng came to the Sakyamuni Hall, but several people were waiting in the hall. On the left side of the main hall stands a person, dressed in a glass Taoist robe, with a solemn face that is not good at talking or laughing, and an extremely solemn expression. There are 4 people standing on the right side of the main hall. The person in charge is bloated and slightly wealthy, with a smile on their face, making them feel very kind. 2 people were dressed in sun and moon Taoist robes, with golden and silver rays shining on their bodies. Their faces were like crown jewels, and their eyes kept scanning the surroundings of the main hall. The last person was dressed in a Honghuang Dao Pao, emitting an infinite Buddhist charm all around him, and the power of heaven and earth seemed to converge towards him. These 5 people are not outsiders, they are the pharmacist, Maitreya, Nico, Moonlight, and roughly the power, and they are also Su Heng's senior brothers. When Su Heng arrived at the main hall and saw the pharmacist and others present, he immediately bowed and greeted everyone. Su Heng has met all the senior brothers. Su Heng bowed his hand with a hint of friendly affection on his face. The pharmacist, roughly sure, and others saw Su Heng's arrival with smiles on their faces, and Maitreya responded directly. Su Heng, junior brother, don't be too polite. You have been practicing diligently and haven't been seen for hundreds of years. We thought you would miss the opportunity for your master to preach. Maitreya's face showed a kind expression, and his words expressed his concern for Su Heng. The West is barren, and living beings are even rarer. In addition, everyone is a disciple of the Western religion, so they seem to be very harmonious with each other, and there is no situation of competing with the same sect. P.S. Secondly, kneel down and beg for flowers, as well as evaluation tickets and rewards. Chapter 003. Continuation of Quotations, 3 Generations of Infinite Maitreya. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 003, Continuation of Quotations, 3 Generations of Infinite Maitreya Sutra. Upon hearing this, Su Heng's face and smile did not diminish, and he quickly responded. The first time my master and senior uncle preached, how dare my junior brother be absent? It was only because I had reached a critical moment in my cultivation that there was a delay, which worried all senior brothers. Upon hearing these words, the pharmacist, Maitreya, and others noticed that Su Heng's cultivation had already surpassed the realm of immortality. They congratulated each other and said, "Congratulations, junior brother." Although the cultivation level of the heavenly immortal is not strong, whose realm does not gradually improve from low to high. As long as Su Heng's strength increases, everyone will feel happy. As for the difference in cultivation among the people, the pharmacist, Nico, and others did not care at all. No matter who was strong or weak, they were all from the same sect, and they would not take such matters seriously. Moreover, their cultivation level is not much higher, it's just a true immortal realm. Facing everyone's congratulations, Su Heng felt a hint of warmth in his heart. If you are preaching and paraphrasing, your strength may not be as good as others, and you will only be ridiculed, looked down upon, and even treated unfairly. However, this situation does not occur in Western religions. The 2 religions of Zhanjia are the sage sects, with the strong power of the primordial heavenly sovereign and the head of the Tongtian sect. They have almost no external enemies in the wilderness. Moreover, the disciples of the 2 sects do not have to worry about their cultivation resources, and coupled with the conflicting doctrines of the 2 sects, it is inevitable that internal conflicts will occur. On the other hand, the 2 saints of the West share the same goal, both of whom take it as their own responsibility to revive the West. The disciples of Western religions also follow the will of the 2 saints and contribute to the prosperity of the West, which naturally makes them appear more harmonious. Thinking of this, Su Heng suddenly felt that his original choice was extremely correct. I dare not compare myself with my senior brothers, but I have made everyone laugh. Su Heng's words fell and he stood directly behind the pharmacist, without further ado. After a brief conversation, the main hall gradually quieted down. After a moment, a mist suddenly rose around, revealing an infinite illusion. Wow! A majestic mist emerged in the main hall, transforming into boundless auspicious clouds, enveloping the void in all directions. Purple air came from the east for millions of miles, covering the vast expanse of the sky. Infinite auspicious colors display thousands of auspicious beasts, circling and jumping among the auspicious clouds, showcasing the vision of universal celebration. The surging Buddha's rhyme transformed into 2 golden lotus statues, hovering at the top. The saint of Jieyin, dressed in a Honghuang Taoist robe, and the saint of Zhunti, dressed in a Qianqing Taoist robe, quietly landed on the golden lotus. They have a compassionate face and a dignified expression, emitting an infinite Buddha's charm all around them. They each manifest the Buddha's Dharma behind them. The wisdom Buddha will hangs high in the void, emitting a brilliant Buddha's light, illuminating the heavens and the world. The sound of Sanskrit Zen singing spreads around, making the spiritual platform clear and the divine soul stable. The divine power of the heavenly way surpasses all sentient beings, shaking the rules of heaven and earth, and showcasing the dignity of the sage. Pharmacists, Heng, and Maitreya, among others, saluted and greeted the appearance of the receiving saint and the Zhunti saint. "I'll pay my respects to Master, Uncle. I will pay my respects to Master, Master." Everyone bowed and knelt, their faces showing sincere respect, and their eyes gleaming with anticipation. The sage glanced at the crowd and nodded in response with a smile, "You don't need to be polite, get up." Before the words could be finished, the sage gently stroked his sleeve and used a gentle force to lift everyone up. The Saint Zhunti's expression was slightly positive, and he immediately said in a deep voice, "The Western region is barren, and there are very few living beings. Looking at the entire Western world, only a few of you are capable of assuming great responsibilities. My master and brothers, we appreciate the difficulty of your cultivation and have specially preached a sermon. Please listen attentively. Zhunti and Jieyin recruited disciples from the entire Western continent, and only received 5 or 6 disciples. Therefore, every disciple is a precious treasure in their eyes, and they will naturally take good care of it. Western resources are scarce, and cultivation is very difficult. Zhunti and Jieyin can only help everyone improve their strength through preaching." Upon hearing that the sage was about to preach, the pharmacist, Maitreya, Heng, and others immediately restrained their minds and sat on the auspicious clouds, waiting for the other person to speak. Take a glance at the saint and the saint of Zhunti, and then speak in a deep voice. My Buddhist teachings differ slightly from those of Master Zhunti. To avoid confusion, I will preach first. As for how much I can comprehend, it depends on my level of understanding. There is no ignorance at all, even no old death at all, no suffering gathering to destroy the Tao, no wisdom and no gain. Drawing on the words of the sage, spitting out lotus flowers at the mouth, the sound of Sanskrit chanting and Zen chanting elucidates the supreme principles of Buddhism, showcasing the wonders of heaven and earth. He radiates an infinite Buddha's rhyme all over his body, condensed into a towering Buddha's Dharma image. The Buddha's Dharma is solemn and dignified, his whole body is like gilded gold, engraved with billions of Buddhist scriptures, shining with dazzling Buddha light. Wherever the light of Buddha shines, the space and time around the world turn into an endless pure land, and the magnificent Buddha rhyme emerges, showing the golden bodies of Buddha, Arhat, Mingwang and other Buddhas. The Dharma has been transformed into a golden lotus, hovering over the heads of Maitreya, the medicine master, the sun, and others, casting endless mist and providing them with surging magical power. Each Taoist golden lotus contains 100 years of magical power, which can quickly enhance one's strength. The pharmacist, Maitreya, and others listened to the Zen music of Buddhism, feeling that the spiritual platform was clear and the divine soul was endlessly sublimated. Thousands of Buddhist rhymes covered their bodies, immersing them in the vast sea of Buddhism. The sage's preaching has infinite power, able to explain the obscure and incomprehensible principles of heaven and earth in simple words, allowing people to quickly comprehend. Pharmacists, Maitreya, and others are all innate followers. When they listen to the Zen music of sages, they quickly fall into enlightenment. They emit boundless Buddha rhymes all over their bodies, each manifesting their own virtual shadows, absorbing the cultivation of the golden lotus in the path. Although Su Heng was a follower after birth, he also had a good understanding. With the blessing of the sages' Zen music, he gradually entered a state of enlightenment. Buzz. The 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra operates on its own, with pure magic surging within its limbs and bones, refining its ethereal elemental spirit. Su Heng exuded a majestic Buddhist charm all over his body, and behind him appeared a ghostly golden bamboo shadow to ward off evil. The warding off evil, golden bamboo, and purple gold are engraved with mysterious Buddha patterns. 3,000 buds stretch out towards the void, piercing into the golden lotus of the path, absorbing the magic and Buddha's charm within. Under the washing of majestic magic and mysterious Buddhist rhyme, Su Heng's spiritual essence became even more solid. He showed a compassionate expression on his face and exuded a solemn aura around him, gradually evolving towards the Buddha. Su Heng listened to the sage's path, his divine consciousness immersed in Buddhism, and he realized the mysteries of Buddhism, completely unaware of everything around him. Just as Su Heng was operating the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra, he suddenly experienced a strange movement in the Honghuang practice mirror within the sea space. Buzz. In the space of the sea, Honghuang's martial arts mirror trembled slightly, and he absorbed the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra on his own. Billions of scriptures were condensed into the illusion of the guiding sage, and he continued to practice martial arts in the mirror. Shu. Sitting on the auspicious lotus with the guidance of the Dharma, brilliant golden threads emerged within him, revealing the path of the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra. Any subtle aspect of the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra is presented without reservation in Su Heng's divine consciousness, just like a sage guiding him personally on how to cultivate this technique. Under the practice of using the technique of drawing inspiration, Su Heng quickly realized the key to his martial arts skills. Many previously incomprehensible aspects were instantly realized. At the next moment, Su Heng directly followed the path of practicing martial arts and carried out the operation of the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra. In an instant, the majestic magic surged among the 4 limbs and bones, and Su Heng's body generated a terrifying suction, domineeringly absorbing the holy Buddha's charm in the void. P.S. Third watch, kneel for flowers, and there are also evaluation tickets and rewards. Chapter 004. Saint's Way Rhyme, The Power of Cause and Effect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 004, Saint's Way Rhyme, The Power of Cause and Effect. Wow! The sage Buddha rhyme in the void seems to have found an outlet for release, crazily instilling it into Su Heng, one after another integrating into his spiritual essence. One after another, the golden lotus in the path withered and dissipated in an instant, and its majestic magic was refined by Su Heng. Even the cultivation state of pharmacists and others has been slightly affected, resulting in a momentary stagnation. Su Heng absorbed the infinite Buddha's rhyme, and the breath emanating from his body was somewhat similar to that of the guiding sage. There was an indescribable sense of mystery in the underworld. This sudden change shook the hearts of the pharmacist, Maitreya, Deshizi, and others, and a hint of surprise appeared on their faces. At the beginning of the sage's explanation of the Tao, everyone quickly entered a state of enlightenment. Only Su Heng gradually found a feeling and became immersed in enlightenment. Moreover, the speed at which people absorb the Taoist golden lotus is faster than Su Heng, and their efficiency in comprehending Buddhism is also higher. But now, Su Heng's absorption speed of Taoist golden lotus is much faster than Maitreya, pharmacists, and others, which can be said to be plundering cultivation resources. Even his speed of understanding Buddhism is unmatched by others. If Su Heng was a congenital follower, even if his intelligence surpassed everyone else, the pharmacist and others would not feel shocked. But Su Heng was just a follower after birth, and surprisingly had the intelligence to surpass innate beings. How could this not shock Maitreya, Deshizi, and others? Practicing is not just about valuing one's feet, but also about understanding. With such understanding, Su Heng's junior brother may not necessarily achieve weaker results than us in the future. The pharmacist let out a secret sigh in his heart, and a faint smile appeared on his face. He immediately stopped paying attention to Su Heng's unusual appearance and continued to listen attentively to the sage's path. Maitreya, Moonlight, and others were slightly surprised and each restrained their minds, continuing to comprehend Buddhism. De Shiji and others were unaware of the existence of Xiao Hongmeng's martial arts mirror, and only thought that Su Heng's significant change was due to his own intelligence. They could not have imagined that the latter had external assistance. There are Hongmeng practicing the martial arts mirror and the martial arts sage practicing the techniques, and there are also those who lead the sage to preach in person. This is equivalent to guiding Su Heng in hand on how to practice Buddhism. In this situation, even the most ignorant cultivator can quickly comprehend the teachings of the sage Buddha. Not to mention, Su Heng's understanding is already strong, and his efficiency in comprehending Buddhism will naturally be incredibly fast, even reaching out to pharmacists and others. Su Heng's predatory insight into the anomalies of Buddhism not only caught the attention of Maitreya and others, but also connected the saints of Yinsheng and Zhunti, both of which were unimaginable. Su Heng's nephew's insight into the efficiency of Buddhism is even more rapid than that of the pharmacist and Maitreya. Is it because he is in the form of a golden bamboo to ward off evil, that he is more in line with senior brother's path? The Saint Zhunti let out a sigh, his face full of surprise, and his eyes sparkling with brilliant Buddha's light, as if he wanted to see through Su Heng's secret. Following the footsteps of the sage is the bitter bamboo, one of the top 10 innate spiritual roots, who cultivates the path of cause and effect. Su Heng, on the other hand, was transformed into a golden bamboo to ward off evil, and can be said to belong to the same category as the introduction of saints. In addition, Su Heng was originally a disciple who received guidance and practiced the 3 generations of the Infinite Maitreya Sutra. This led the Zhunti sage to believe that Su Heng was able to quickly comprehend the other party's Buddhism because his ontology was more in line with the guiding path. He didn't know that Su Heng had a Hongmeng performing martial arts mirror, with the help of treasures from heaven and earth. While guiding the sage to explain the main road, his gaze fixed on Su Heng, with a look of surprise in his eyes. In the eyes of others, only Su Heng was able to quickly comprehend Buddhism. But in the eyes of the guiding sage, they see something different. At this moment, Su Heng, whether in his state of practicing the 3 generations of the Infinite Maitreya Sutra or in his perception of the breath emanating from Buddhism, made the receiving sage see a trace of himself. If it weren't for witnessing Su Heng practicing with his own eyes, he would have thought he was listening to the Tao when he invited the sage. As a sage of the heavenly way, Jieyin is determined to prosper the West and naturally wants someone to inherit his legacy. His most valued disciple was originally a pharmacist, and he wanted to wait for the other party to show their skills before passing on his legacy. I just didn't expect that after some preaching, he would see his shadow on Su Heng. This is shocking for the Holy Spirit, but more so, it is joyful. Su Heng is in perfect harmony with his principles. If the former could inherit his legacy, it would be more advantageous for the prosperity of the West. As for Su Heng's weak footwork, that's not a problem at all. In the vast world, there are many things that can improve one's skills, and Western Buddhism has the 8 treasures of merit pool, which can cause a cultivator's skills to undergo earth-shattering transformation. As long as Su Heng has a deep enough talent for Buddhism, he doesn't mind using the 8 treasures merit pool to help him improve his skills. Of course, the sage will not immediately arrange this matter, and it will take some time to investigate before making any other plans. The pharmacist and Su Heng each have their own advantages, but this seat has admitted 2 good disciples. The sage sighed in his heart and immediately ignored Su Heng's unusual appearance, continuing to explain the sage's Buddhist teachings. Su Heng was comprehending the path of the sage, without paying any attention to the changes in the outside world, let alone the idea of inviting and practicing the sage. He operates the 3 generations of the Infinite Maitreya Sutra, refining the magical power of the golden lotus in Taoism, and generates a trace of causal power in his body, flowing along his limbs and bones. Su Heng's breath surged at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the surging Buddhist rhyme condensed into a three-flower virtual shadow of heaven, earth, and humanity, guarding his ethereal primordial spirit. Su Heng realized the supreme Dharma without paying any attention to the passage of time. With the passage of time and the vicissitudes of life, 300 years have quietly passed in the blink of an eye. Over the past 300 years, Su Heng has absorbed the magical power of the Taoist golden lotus to cultivate, and also used the Honghuang martial arts mirror to practice the martial arts sage's techniques. He has also listened to the sage's Buddhist teachings, leading to a significant increase in his own cultivation. Bang! With a muffled sound coming out, Su Heng exuded the perfect pressure of a celestial being all over his body, and the majestic magic power, accompanied by the power of cause and effect, spread outwards. The warding off evil golden bamboo behind him has already grown into lush branches and leaves, with countless Buddha patterns engraved on each branch and countless Buddhist teachings imprinted on the leaves. The power of cause and effect is transformed into strands, outlining an illusory Buddha statue, which makes people feel quite strange. Su Heng comprehended the teachings of the sage and gained a trace of causal power. His cultivation of the primordial spirit successfully broke through the perfection of immortality, greatly improving his strength. The realm under the immortal path is divided into refining essence and transforming qi, refining qi and transforming spirit, refining spirit and returning to emptiness, and refining the combined path of emptiness. Going further up, there are human immortals, earthly immortals, heavenly immortals, true immortals, golden immortals Tai, great Luo golden immortals, quasi-saints, and sage realms. Every level of the immortal realm undergoes vastly different changes, and even a small level of improvement can lead to a significant increase in strength. Su Heng listened to the sage's path, and his spiritual cultivation went from the early stage of being a celestial being to a perfect level, breaking through several small realms in a row. For him, this is already considered very rare. If there were no sages preaching, Su Heng would have to spend at least 10,000 years to break through to the perfection of immortality, in order to achieve the current results. P.S. Fourth watch, kneel for flowers, and there are also evaluation tickets and rewards. The new book has been uploaded, may I ask if anyone has read it? Chapter 005. Saint's Treasure, Receive the Treasure I. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 005, Accompanying Magic Treasure, Receive the Treasure I. Su Heng felt the powerful force inside his body, and a hint of a smile appeared on his face, sighing in his heart. The sage's preaching is truly without opportunity, saving me tens of thousands of years of hard work and avoiding many detours. No wonder all beings in the wilderness want to listen to the sage's preaching. It turns out that the effect of improving cultivation is so significant the sage's preaching can help the cultivator avoid many detours and guide the most correct direction of enlightenment. The cultivation process will naturally be very rapid, much easier than self-cultivation in seclusion. Of course, within 300 years, Su Heng was able to elevate his cultivation to a perfect level as a celestial being. In addition to the reason for the sage's preaching, there was also the credit for Honghuang's performance in the martial arts mirror. If it weren't for Honghuang practicing martial arts and helping Su Heng practice the 3 generations of the infinite Maitreya Sutra, even if a saint helped him explain Buddhism, the effect of improving his cultivation would be greatly reduced. At this moment, Su Heng had truly felt the auxiliary effect of Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror, and he valued it even more in his heart. Fortunately, Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror will cover up the heavenly secrets on its own, even the sage cannot detect it, so there is no need to worry about the risk of exposure. Su Heng made a breakthrough in his cultivation, but the guidance sage did not stop preaching, so he continued to listen to the latter's preaching, in order to consolidate his own cultivation. In the blink of an eye, another 100 years had passed, and the leading sage finally stopped preaching and replaced it with the preaching of the Zhunti sage. Zhunti is also a saint of the heavenly way. When he explains Buddhism, the interior of the main hall is filled with golden lotus flowers and the sky is in chaos. Purple energy comes from millions of miles to the east, and infinite auspicious colors manifest the wonders of heaven and earth. The surging Buddha's rhyme embodies the golden body of the Buddha, giving rise to the pure land of pure bliss, which explains the profound principles of Buddhism for pharmacists, Maitreya, and others. Heng did not learn the martial arts of the Zhunti sage, and was unable to use the Honghuang martial arts mirror to practice the opponent's Buddhism, resulting in a slight decline in his enlightenment effect. On the other hand, Maitreya and Ji, among others, showed a significant improvement in their efficiency in understanding Buddhism while listening to the teachings of the Zhunti sage, and their own cultivation continued to soar. Subsequently, after 400 years of preaching by the sage, this sermon ended. If there is a tiny grain of holy intent, spreading all sentient beings, compassionate giving brings joy, and all Buddhas from all directions come and listen. As the last sound fell, the saint of Zhunti stopped preaching, and the celestial phenomena in the main hall disappeared in an instant. The majestic Buddhist rhyme transforms into a mist, hidden in nothingness. As the sage stopped preaching, the pharmacist, Maitreya, and Heng, among others, woke up from enlightenment with a joyful smile on their faces and a hint of satisfaction in their hearts. Everyone listened to the two saints preaching, and their cultivation had improved to varying degrees. Their strength had greatly improved, and they immediately bowed and thanked them. "Thank you very much, Master, Uncle, for preaching. Thank you very much, Master, Uncle, for preaching." Pharmacist, Heng, and Ji, among others, each expressed gratitude and sincere respect on their faces. The two saints spared no effort to explain Buddhism to Heng and others, and their hearts were filled with gratitude. The sage glanced at everyone and found that everyone had varying degrees of progress. He felt a hint of comfort in his heart and immediately said in a deep voice, "This sermon ends here. If you have anything you don't understand, you can privately inquire. As disciples of the Western cult, it is inevitable that you will have to walk through the wilderness in the future, and you will also need a magic weapon to be by your side. As a teacher, I will bestow a magic weapon on you today." Although the Western continent is barren, Zhunti and Jieyin once obtained some powerful treasures on the Feilu rock. They have relatively abundant hands and can bestow treasures for everyone's self-defense. The pharmacist, Maitreya, and Ji all looked forward to hearing that the Holy One was about to bestow a magical treasure. You should know that since their transformation, they have no magic weapon in their hands and can be said to be extremely poor. Nowadays, upon hearing that the sage is about to bestow a treasure, everyone is naturally filled with joy and anticipation. Although Heng has a Honghuang martial arts performance mirror, it can only be used for martial arts and cannot enhance his own combat power. He also hopes to have other magic weapons nearby. Seeing everyone full of expectations, the sage immediately stopped delaying and waved his sleeve suddenly. Shwa! As a ray of rosy light flowed, a glass-like 9-story jade pagoda suspended in front of the guiding sage, emitting the aura of a top-quality innate spiritual treasure. This object is called the glass pagoda, which belongs to the top-grade innate spiritual treasure. It is obtained from the Feilu rock by this tower. It integrates attack and defense, has extraordinary power, and can purify the filth of heaven and earth. As the first disciple of the West, pharmacist, this glass tower is bestowed upon you for self-defense. As the words fell, the sage's jade finger was slightly touched, and the glass tower transformed into a stream of light, steadily suspended in front of the pharmacist. The pharmacist looked at the glass tower with a joyful expression on his face, and a blazing light flickered in his eyes. You should know that there are countless innate spiritual treasures. Even a lower-grade innate spiritual treasure appears extremely precious, and can even cause disputes among cultivators. The Western region is barren, and magic treasures are even rarer. It is difficult to even see a low-grade innate spiritual treasure, let alone a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. Nowadays, as soon as the sage takes action, he is bestowed with a top-grade innate spiritual treasure, which is enough to demonstrate the master's appreciation for him. At this moment, the pharmacist was deeply grateful and quickly thanked him. "Thank you, disciple, for giving me the treasure." The pharmacist thanked him and quickly put away the glass tower. The sage nodded slightly and then turned his gaze to Su Heng. After a moment of contemplation, he took out a magic weapon. Shua. Taking the sage's jade sleeve lightly, he took out a crystal-clear treasure building. That precious building is as tall as a Zen cane, with countless Buddha patterns engraved on the pole, inlaid with many precious pearls such as gold, silver, and glass. The six-sided flag hangs down, emitting a pleasant Sanskrit sound. Baozhuang emits colorful Buddha light throughout its body, bursting with the power of top-grade innate spiritual treasures, and the surging Buddha charm suppresses the void in all directions. As soon as this treasure building emerged, the Saint Zhunti's expression slightly changed and he exclaimed in surprise, "Senior brother, are you?" The Saint Zhunti hesitated to speak, his face showing surprise as he looked at the Saint Zhunti. Upon seeing this, Su Heng secretly guessed in his heart that there might be something extraordinary about this treasure building, otherwise Master Zhunti wouldn't have reacted like this. The sage ignored Zhunti's surprise and explained directly. "This item is called Jieyin Treasure Building, which belongs to the top-grade innate spiritual treasure. It is a companion magic weapon for teachers. It integrates attack and defense, and is invincible with extraordinary power. Su Heng, you are in perfect harmony with the path of being a teacher. This Jieyin Treasure Building is bestowed upon you for self-defense." As the words fell, the jade finger of the Holy Spirit lightly touched, and the treasure building transformed into a Buddha's light, steadily stopping in front of Su Heng. Upon hearing the 4 words companion magic weapon, Su Heng was deeply moved. The essence of the sage is the bitter bamboo, one of the top 10 innate spiritual roots. It is powerful and has accompanying spiritual treasures from birth, also known as the 3 treasures of attraction. The 3 treasures of Jieyin are Jieyin Baozhuang, Jieyin Fuqian, and Jieyin Baozhu, all of which are top-grade innate spiritual treasures. Among them, the Jieyin Treasure Building is the most powerful. It integrates attack and defense, and can gather the power of Western beliefs, making it extremely powerful. The significance of a saint's companion treasure lies not in the grade of the treasure, but in symbolizing the saint's identity and the high expectations given by the other party. Su Heng did not expect that his master would bestow a companion treasure, which deeply moved his heart. No matter how the world views the 2 Western sages, at least the master treats them very well, otherwise how could they bestow companion treasures? At this moment, Su Heng had a deep sense of gratitude towards the introduction of saints and a stronger sense of belonging to the West. P.S. 5th watch, may I ask if anyone is watching? Kneeling to collect, there are also evaluation tickets and rewards. Chapter 006. Saints' Divine Power, Demonstrating the Way in Dreams. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 006, Saints' Divine Power, Demonstrating the Way in Dreams. Just as Su Heng was shocked, Maitreya and the pharmacist felt envious. The value of a saint's companion treasure has long surpassed that of the treasure itself. How favored is it to send one's own companion treasure? As the head disciple of the Western cult, the pharmacist did not receive the saint's companion treasure, while Su Heng, as a young junior apprentice, was able to obtain the master's companion treasure, which anyone would envy. Of course, pharmacists, Maitreya, and others only feel envious and will never have any jealous emotions, and may even feel happy for each other. As a young Western junior apprentice, Su Heng's younger martial brother is extremely in line with his master's teachings, and it is only natural for him to be greatly favored. The pharmacist sighed to himself, calming the envy in his heart. As the senior brother of the sect, he must be the most respected, but the junior brother is the most favored, and various resources tend to lean towards the latter. If a pharmacist achieves success in his studies, he will also consider helping his junior apprentice if conditions permit. Therefore, the pharmacist did not have any aversion towards Su Heng's special treatment, and even enjoyed seeing it succeed. Heng was unaware of everyone's thoughts, but seeing the sincere smile on the pharmacist's face, he calmly accepted the Jieyin treasure building. The Jieyin treasure building was bestowed by the Jieyin sage, and regardless of the grade, it is the master's intention. Heng will definitely not refuse and will immediately bow and thank him. Thank you very much, master, for giving me the magic weapon. Jieyin nodded slightly in response, but his gaze turned towards Zhunti. They have limited treasures in their hands and cannot achieve equal distribution of rain and dew. They can only bestow treasures on their respective disciples. Zhunti and Jieyin's mind and thoughts are connected, and they instantly understand the profound meaning in the other person's expression. They immediately spoke in a deep voice. The Western region is barren and cannot compare to the richness of the East. The treasures in our hands are limited, and we cannot cover everything. Here are 4 magic treasures, including a purple golden bowl and pestle, to be bestowed upon you for self-defense. As soon as the Saint Zhunti finished speaking, his sleeve suddenly waved and several rays of rosy light rushed out. I saw 4 treasures, including a purple golden bowl, a demon-slaying pestle, a fish-intestine sword, and a blessing divine pestle, falling in front of Maitreya, Daishe, and others, each emitting the aura of a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. Although there are some treasures in Zhunti's hand, giving away 4 top-quality innate spiritual treasures at once is already the limit. If there were more disciples, he would only be able to bestow postnatal spiritual treasures. Maitreya and others looked at the magic weapon in front of them, their faces showing excitement. These treasures are of high quality and can greatly enhance their strength, which naturally brings great joy to everyone. Thank you very much, Master, for giving us the treasure. Maitreya and others expressed their gratitude and immediately put away their respective treasures. Upon seeing that everyone had obtained the magic weapon, the sage immediately said, Western religions belong to the mystical sect, and the divine powers and techniques passed down by the Taoist ancestors in the past are already included in the techniques you cultivate. But I have developed 800 Buddhist teachings in the West and created many Buddhist supernatural powers myself. Today, I will impart these supernatural powers to you. In the future, when encountering disciples from the Xianmen sect, I will not fall behind. Jieyin and Zhunti are both listening to lectures at the Zixiao Palace, learning the mystical magic and techniques. They have also created the Buddhist magic and techniques, which are no less powerful than the mystical magic. In order to enable the Western religious community to stand invincible in the face of disciples from the 3 teachings of Man, Chan, and Jie, the 2 saints planned to pass down the divine powers of Buddhism. As the words fell, the sage's sleeve was waved, and several brilliant light clusters enveloped the supreme scriptures, each blending into the brows of the pharmacist, Maitreya, and Heng. Heng only felt a flash of Buddha's light before his eyes, and an additional scripture appeared in his mind. Under his divine perception, he could only see the countless scriptures shining together and manifesting into the 6 characters of the method of proving the Tao in a dream. This is the method of proving the Tao in dreams. Heng explored the cultivation methods in the sea and found out that it was the method of proving the Tao in his dream. A hint of surprise appeared on his face. The method of proving the Tao in dreams is not only a cultivation method, but also a powerful divine power. Practicing this method will generate an illusory inner world on its own, allowing the cultivator's spiritual essence to practice in dreams. This inner world is like a dream, and everything in it is both false and true. It is projected from the practitioner's inner self and can be changed with their powerful thoughts. The most crucial thing is that the strength enhanced by practicing enlightenment in dreams will be manifested in reality. If one can elevate their cultivation level to the golden immortal realm in a dream, then their true cultivation level in the real world will also be elevated to the golden immortal realm. If one can preach in dreams, it means they can preach perfectly in reality. Of course, everything in the inner world is closely related to the real world, and it does not mean that one can achieve enlightenment just by practicing. It only provides more favorable conditions for cultivation. The method of proving the Tao in dreams can not only be used for cultivation, but also serve as a means of defeating enemies. If you encounter a powerful enemy, you can pull their divine consciousness into the inner dreamland world you have constructed. In the inner dream world, he is the master of everything and can use the power of the dream world to suppress strong enemies. It can even guide the other party to fall into their own nightmares, allowing the enemy to completely sink in the dream. The method of proving the Tao in this dream can be considered one of the most powerful among the divine powers of various Buddhas, with immense power. If used well, it can even restrain cultivators with stronger cultivation than oneself and achieve level crossing challenges. After learning about the power of the method of enlightenment in his dream, Heng felt a burst of joy in his heart. While Heng was exploring the magical powers of Buddhism, the pharmacist, Maitreya, and others each examined their own magical powers. To everyone's surprise, they found that the Buddhist and magical powers bestowed upon them by the saints were different, as if they were specifically taught based on their characteristics. It seems that everyone has the most suitable Buddhist teachings and supernatural powers, and it should be easier to cultivate them. As the saying goes, chewing too much won't spoil, 100 things won't be as good as one. Mastering a powerful divine skill is far more useful than mastering 100 divine powers. Even if the sage imparts many divine powers and techniques, it will be of no use if they are not well studied. It is better to major in a divine power. Presumably, the master was worried about everyone's ambition, so he only taught one divine skill that was suitable for each other's cultivation. The key to mutual understanding among everyone is to understand the profound meaning of the sage and immediately perform worship and thanksgiving. Thank you very much, Master, for teaching us the magical powers of Buddhism. Upon hearing this, the sage smiled and nodded in response, immediately admonishing him. Magic treasures and supernatural powers are ultimately external things, and only one's own cultivation is fundamental. We must not neglect our cultivation, but strive to cultivate them and achieve supreme enlightenment as soon as possible. The West is already impoverished, and everyone wants to catch up with the disciples of the three religions of Superman, Chan, and Jie, only by working hard to cultivate. Even if the guiding sage does not warn the people, they will still strive to practice and dare not slack off at all. We will remember the teachings of our master, uncle, and strive to cultivate. We hope to be able to preach as soon as possible. Well, this matter is over. Let's go back to seclusion and practice on your own. As the words fell, the figures of Jieyin Saint and Zhunti Saint disappeared in an instant. We respectfully bid farewell to master, uncle and uncle. After bowing and greeting each other, everyone returned to their residence to organize their gains. P.S. At the 6th watch, I begged for flowers and evaluation tickets. I was a bit nervous when I wrote about Western teaching for the first time. I hope readers will give awesome support so that the author can have confidence. Thank you. There will be a watch in the evening. Chapter 007. Introduction to the Dharma and Evolution of Divine Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 007, Introduction to the Dharma and Evolution of Divine Power. In the palace of the side hall, Heng sat on the auspicious clouds, his ethereal body flowing with the majestic Buddhist charm, displaying a solemn and solemn image. Shwa. Heng waved his sleeves lightly, and the top-quality innate spiritual treasure received the precious building, landing in front of him. The 6-sided building flag swayed in the wind, emitting a pleasant Sanskrit sound. Jieyin Treasure Building is a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. To use it, you need to refine it a bit so that it can play a powerful role against enemies in the future. Now I happen to have some leisure time, so I can start by sacrificing and refining a few when facing enemies. Cultivators in the wilderness will use the power of magic weapons to enhance their own combat power and unleash their powerful power. The power that erupts with the blessing of magic weapons and without the amplification of magic weapons is a natural difference. Since Heng has obtained the Jieyin Treasure Building, he naturally wants to play its due role, but to use the innate spiritual treasure, he needs to refine the innate prohibitions inside. The innate spiritual treasure is formed by the self-cultivation of heaven and earth, containing an innate and indestructible spiritual light that can enable cultivators to understand the laws and principles contained within it. As long as the innate indestructible spiritual light is still present, even if the innate spiritual treasure is shattered, it can still absorb the charm of heaven and earth on its own, thus repairing itself. To use the innate spiritual treasure, one needs to refine the innate prohibitions contained within it and leave a divine soul imprint in order to unleash the corresponding power. The postnatal spiritual treasure is refined by powerful cultivators through special means, containing postnatal prohibitions that can be used without sacrificial refining. But the acquired magic weapon only has strong power and cannot make cultivators understand the way of the law. It can only be used to defeat enemies. The grades of Xiantian Lingbao, from weak to strong, can be divided into inferior Xiantian Lingbao, medium Xiantian Lingbao, superior Xiantian Lingbao, and top-grade Xiantian Lingbao. Above the innate spiritual treasure, there is also the existence of the innate treasure, which is controlled by top powers. The Jieyin treasure building belongs to the top-grade innate spiritual treasure, which contains 24 innate prohibitions. To fully refine it, at least the cultivation of the Great Luo Golden Immortal is required. Su Heng only has a perfect cultivation as a heavenly immortal, and can only preliminarily refine and receive the Yinbao building. Refining. Su Heng separated a strand of primordial gods and integrated them into the Jieyin treasure building, using the perfect magical power of celestial beings to refine the innate prohibitions within. Buzz. The Jieyin treasure building trembled slightly, and the Buddha patterns on the building poles flickered frequently, illuminating colorful Buddha lights such as gold, silver, and glass. The surging Buddha rhyme spewed out, enveloping the void in all directions. The six-sided red-gold building flag flutters like a training horse, with causal strands surging freely on the flag, as if revealing the mystery of causal laws. Su Heng focused on refining the innate prohibition and paid no attention to the external changes of the Jieyin treasure building. He constantly refined innate prohibitions, and his own mana was rapidly depleted. Su Heng could only operate his martial arts and supplement his mana by absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Under Su Heng's persistent sacrifice and refinement, the first innate restriction gradually became loose. Years passed without trace, and in the blink of an eye, 20 years passed quietly. Su Heng finally refined the first innate prohibition and successfully left a divine soul imprint. Buzz. The Jieyin treasure building trembled slightly, and causal strands emerged, flowing around Su Heng's body. He clearly felt that his own spiritual energy could resonate with the Jieyin treasure building, and a slight movement of his spiritual energy could unleash its powerful power. Su Heng left his own spiritual imprint inside the Jieyin treasure building, so he was not afraid of others taking away the treasure. Even if he is far away from the magic treasure, he can recall the receiving treasure building with just one thought. The innate spiritual treasure is truly nurtured by heaven and earth. It took me 20 years to refine the first innate restraint. The first innate restriction is the easiest to refine, and with each subsequent refinement, the difficulty will increase exponentially. With Su Heng's perfect cultivation, he can at most refine 4 or 5 innate prohibitions, and it will also take a long time. Every time I refine a prohibition, the power of the magic weapon will skyrocket. I will do my best to refine a few more prohibitions, so that I can have more confidence when facing enemies in the future. Su Heng sighed and immediately concentrated his mind, continuing to refine and receive the Yinbao building. Under the refinement of the perfect magical power of the heavenly immortal, the innate restraint of the Yin treasure building was gradually refined at a slow pace. The sea changes, the stars shift, and 400 years quietly pass by. Su Heng spent 400 years persistently refining and refining the Yinbao building, finally completing the first 5 innate prohibitions and unleashing the power of inferior innate spiritual treasures. Bang! The treasure building was shaken with a loud bang, and its powerful momentum covered the entire hall. The treasure building flowed with colorful Buddha light throughout, transforming into a dazzling light curtain, emitting invincible power. The six-sided red gold building flag sweeps across the void in all directions, unleashing the power of destroying mountains and seas, revealing its rightful strength. Su Heng's cultivation is limited, and he can only refine the first 5 innate prohibitions for the time being, exerting the power of a lower-grade innate spiritual treasure. But don't think that the power of inferior innate spiritual treasures is very weak. Some innate creatures, even without magic weapons, can only rely on spells to confront enemies. Moreover, this is only temporary. Once Su Heng's cultivation level continues to improve, he can continue to refine the innate prohibition until he completely refines the receiving treasure building. The integration of attack and defense in the Jieyin treasure building allows me to stand invincible even against cultivators 1 or 2 levels higher than me, and I have a certain level of self-protection ability. Su Heng evaluated his own combat power, with a hint of a smile on his face as he was about to take over the treasure house and put it away. After Su Heng finished refining his magic weapon, he thought of the method of practicing the Tao in his dream given by the sage. The method of proving the Tao in a dream is not only a cultivation method, but also a powerful divine skill that Su Heng naturally wants to refine. The method of preaching in dreams is a top-level Buddhist divine power, and it may be difficult for me to cultivate it alone. Fortunately, I have the Honghuang martial arts practice mirror, so I can first practice the martial arts cultivation method before proceeding with my cultivation. As soon as Su Heng finished speaking, he directly took out Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror. Shua. Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror is suspended in front of him, and the glass-like mirror emits a majestic purple mist. The infinite Tao rhyme embodies the boundless image of the Great Road, interpreting billions of profound truths. Su Heng used the Honghuang martial arts practice mirror in the infinite Maitreya Sutra of the 3 generations of martial arts while listening to the teachings of the guiding sage, so he still recognized its effectiveness. Now, he is about to perform martial arts, Buddhism, and supernatural powers, and his heart is full of anticipation. Su Heng's divine mind moved slightly, took out the scripture light cluster containing the method of proving the Tao in his dream, and placed it directly on the Honghuang practice mirror. Buzz. The mirror of Honghuang's martial arts performance trembled slightly, and a powerful suction sucked in the light of the scriptures, allowing him to perform the Buddhist magic of martial arts on his own. In an instant, billions of scriptures were scattered and combined with the rhyme of the Honghuang Tao, a continuation and citation Dharma was derived. The guiding method sits cross-legged on the lotus platform, emitting surging Buddhist rhymes all over the body, covering the heavens in all directions. A series of causal laws emerged within him, constantly operating according to the path of the dream path of enlightenment. Any subtle aspect of this magical power of Buddhism was presented to Su Heng without reservation, allowing him to clearly perceive the mysteries within it. With the continuous practice of Honghuang's martial arts mirror, the surging laws of cause and effect, within the divine consciousness that connects with the Dharma, give rise to a dreamlike inner world. P.S. 7th Watch, kneeling for flowers, with evaluation tickets and rewards. This is my first time writing about Western Buddhism, and I hope everyone can stand up and support me. Chapter 008. Dream World, 10,000 Buddhas of Chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 008, Dream World, 10,000 Buddhas of Chaos. Shua. Suddenly, a brilliant Buddha light burst out from the Jieyin Dharma, shining on Su Heng's body. He felt a sudden light in front of him, and his spiritual consciousness fell into a trance, as if entering another world. When Su Heng's consciousness returned to normal, he found that the surroundings had changed greatly, and the scene before him was even more shocking. At this moment, Su Heng is in a strange world. Amidst the mountains and valleys, towering pagodas and majestic Buddha statues stand towering, stretching across the vast expanse of the earth. Countless Buddhas and monks, such as Buddha, Bodhisattva, Vajra, Mingwang, Arhat, all put their hands together, looked pious, and bowed down in the same direction. Su Heng followed their gaze and gazed away, only to see a towering Buddha statue towering above the sky. The appearance of the Buddha's Dharma appearance is exactly the same as that of the guiding sage, with a compassionate expression on his face and a compassionate expression in his eyes. He presented a flower-picking gesture with one hand and spread out the other, as if extraditing sentient beings to convert to Buddhism. In the mind of the Buddha's Dharma, there is a celestial body that transforms into billions of relics, emitting boundless Buddha light, illuminating the heavens and the universe, and benefiting all sentient beings. Wherever the Buddha's light shines, it transforms into a pure land of Buddhism, and all living beings of all races shed their mortal roots and are about to transform into Buddhas. The Zen sound of Huang Zhong and de Lv echoed through the vast world, making Su Heng's Buddhist heart feel extremely peaceful and involuntarily immersed in Buddhism. Even the breath emanating from him was rapidly transforming, as if he could transform into a Buddha at any moment. This vast scene greatly shocked Su Heng's heart and made him feel incredibly shocked. This is the scene of the 10,000 Buddhas sect. Is this a dream world derived from the Master? Su Heng sighed and his eyes showed a look of surprise as he gazed towards the Buddha Dharma. He uses Honghuang as a martial arts mirror, practicing the method of proving the Tao in his dream of martial arts, and the person who practices martial arts is the one who guides the sage. When inviting the sage to perform martial arts, Su Heng not only presented the subtle aspects of the method of enlightenment in his dream to his eyes, even accompanied by the projection of his derived inner dream world into Su Heng's divine consciousness without reservation. In other words, when inviting the sage to perform martial arts, the process of practicing the method of enlightenment in his dreams, as well as the final result, are fully revealed without reservation. So, Su Heng's divine consciousness is the only way to observe the other person's dream world and know the entire process of guiding the sage to practice. Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror is truly a treasure of heaven and earth. It vividly portrays the entire process of the sage's cultivation of Buddhist teachings and divine powers without reservation. In this way, I only need to follow the Master's cultivation process to practice the method of proving the Tao in my dream, and I can quickly learn it. Su Heng sighed and had a new understanding of the power of Honghuang's martial arts performance in his heart. You should know that the method of proving the Tao in a dream is the divine power of a saint, and the difficulty of cultivation is no less than the 1 Qi and 3 Qing divine powers of a Taiqing saint. To cultivate the divine power of a saint, one not only needs strong followers, but also profound understanding, and it may even take a long time to cultivate. If Su Heng's own conditions were to rely solely on his perfect cultivation as a celestial being, it would be almost impossible to achieve the method of proving the Tao in his dream. Even if there is a chance to cultivate, it will take at least hundreds of thousands of years, or even longer. But with the help of Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror, the situation underwent tremendous changes. Having Honghuang's martial arts mirror and martial arts divine ability, Su Heng was clearly aware of the key to cultivating this divine ability. In addition, with the process of guiding the sage to practice, Su Heng was able to guide him on the path, and at the fastest speed, he was able to cultivate the method of enlightenment in his dreams. If he perseveres in his cultivation, the inner world of his dream world may also present the scene of the 10,000 Buddhas dynasty. At that time, the object of worship for the 10,000 Buddhas may not be the receiving sage, but rather Su Heng. Wait until the dream world is completely transformed from emptiness to reality, and even attain complete enlightenment. At this moment, Su Heng had great confidence in practicing the right path in his dream and couldn't wait to start practicing. Wow! With a flash of brilliance, Su Heng's primordial spirit returned to the mortal world. At this moment, he was still focused, gazing at Honghuang's martial arts performance mirror, as if all his previous experiences were only fleeting intervals. In the Honghuang martial arts performance mirror, the process of using the technique to perform martial arts supernatural powers was exactly the many scenes that Su Heng had seen before. With Honghuang's martial arts mirror and martial arts divine ability, why worry about not learning the method of proving the Tao in my dream? I need to hurry up and practice. Su Heng sighed and immediately restrained his mind, starting to practice the method of enlightenment in his dream. Buzz. Heng mobilized his entire body's magical power and followed the cultivation route of connecting and practicing martial arts, running the method of proving the Tao in his dream within his body. The surging magic constantly washes through the 4 limbs and 100 bones, triggering causal forces to converge towards the elemental God. The power of cause and effect transforms into strands, shining in the space of divine consciousness, as if to outline an illusory world and evolve into ethereal dreams. Heng has Hongmeng's martial arts performance mirror to help him practice martial arts. When practicing the method of proving the Tao in his dream, he can avoid many detours. Every step he takes is the most correct and efficient, capable of cultivating this divine skill in a very short amount of time. Without the assistance of Hongmeng's martial arts mirror, Heng would have had to explore and cultivate on his own, which would have taken an incredibly long time. If there is no one to guide him, he may not even be able to determine the direction of his cultivation, let alone achieve divine powers. Heng followed the process of cultivating divine powers and quickly entered a beautiful state. The trick that would have taken tens of thousands of years to figure out was only mastered by Heng in an instant. Shua. A series of causal strands flow around him, transforming the majestic Buddhist rhyme into clouds and mist, complementing the power of causality, giving rise to an illusory dream space. The dream space was very narrow, with nothing around it, like a tiny constant sand. Heng's divine consciousness was within it, making it difficult to move forward, let alone cultivate. To practice the method of enlightenment in dreams, the first step is to evolve into a dream world. Only when the illusory world becomes stable can one practice in the dream world. If even the dream world cannot be maintained, thinking about practicing in it is pure nonsense. To preach in a dream, it is not true that a dream can lead to a complete preaching. It also requires a foundation in the present world. Otherwise, if Western disciples dream every day, they can improve their cultivation. Do we still need to practice? This is obviously impossible. Heng's divine mind moved slightly, and the majestic Buddhist rhyme integrated into the dream space, constantly expanding and even giving rise to many things. The surging Buddha rhyme is like a creator, giving rise to mountains and peaks in the dream space, evolving the sun, moon, and stars, and constructing an illusory heaven and earth fetal membrane. As all things in heaven and earth evolve, Heng's primordial spirit sits in the void, and the infinite Buddha rhyme constantly condenses behind him, evolving towards the Buddha's Dharma. Heng observed the process of guiding the sage to cultivate divine powers, which was equivalent to practicing by referencing the other person's dream world. In the dream world of the guiding sage, there are many Buddha, Bodhisattva, and other Dharma forms. These Dharma forms can help Heng comprehend Buddhism, and can also be used to improve his own dream world. After the dream world constructed by Heng takes shape, it means that he has cultivated the method of enlightenment in his dream. P.S. First update, a new day, full of vitality again, kneeling down for flowers, as well as evaluation tickets and rewards. New books for support. Chapter 009. Continuing to be shocked and realizing the true meaning of the Buddha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 009, Continuing to be shocked, realizing the true meaning of the Buddha. It has been a long time since the sage was introduced to practice the method of enlightenment in his dreams, so in his dream world, he can manifest the scene of the 10,000 Buddhas and the Supreme Buddha Dharma. However, Heng had just started practicing this divine skill, and the dream world he had evolved into was still very rough, even making it difficult to manifest the illusion of the Dharma. Fortunately, Heng had the assistance of Hongmeng's martial arts mirror for cultivation, which allowed him to face the sage's Dharma practice every day and have a profound understanding of Buddhism at all times. Over time, Heng's perception of Buddhism became even more majestic, and the Buddhist charm emanating from his body also became surging and surging. Heng watched the dream practice of the guiding sage, and his divine consciousness reflected countless Buddhist phenomena, without paying any attention to the passage of time. As time passes, the stars change, and in the blink of an eye, 500 years quietly pass by. Over the past 500 years, Heng has been observing the sage's practice of the Buddha's Dharma, elevating his own understanding of Buddhism to the pinnacle. He has even sensed a trace of the true meaning of the Buddha, allowing his dream world to evolve into a Buddha's Dharma-like phantom. Boom boom. In the dream world, Heng's primordial spirit is covered by the surging Buddhist rhyme, and behind him, a Buddha's Dharma image appears as an illusion. The Buddha's Dharma is solemn and solemn, with a majestic and vast aura. Thousands of scriptures are like stars, flashing frequently around the Dharma. The power of cause and effect evolves the wisdom wheel, floating behind the Buddha's Dharma, revealing infinite wisdom. The sound of the majestic Sanskrit chant resonates throughout the dream world, as if elucidating the profound principles of Buddhism. With the blessing of the virtual shadow of the Buddha's Dharma, Heng's primordial spirit emitted a hint of Buddha's true meaning, bursting with a powerful power of true immortality. Bang! A muffled sound came out, and Heng's primordial spirit burst forth with countless Buddha lights, rendering the world and heaven with boundless Buddha rhymes, making the entire dream world sublimate. Heng spent 500 years observing the sage's Dharma practice every day, practicing the method of enlightenment in his dreams. This not only gave rise to a Buddha's virtual image in his dream world, but also allowed his spiritual cultivation to break through the realm of true immortality. The dream world is both true and false, and the Buddhist insights Heng gained from it will be fed back to the present world one by one, and even his realm will be correspondingly improved. In this world, within the palace of the side hall, Hengduan sat on the auspicious clouds, his eyes tightly closed, his breathing long, as if he had fallen asleep. In the next moment, Heng's eyelids trembled slightly, and his eyes opened sleepily. However, his pupils emitted boundless Buddha light, revealing the wisdom of countless Buddhist teachings. In an instant, Heng's mind was filled with 500 years of cultivation experience and many insights into Buddhism. All phenomena are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows, like dew and electricity, regarded as such observation. Only by fully understanding the true self and the true self, dispelling all illusions, and seeing the true enlightenment of Buddhism, can one become a true immortal. Heng expounded on the ultimate principles of Buddhism, and his internal magical power suddenly surged and surged wildly within his limbs and bones. The Buddhist rhyme between heaven and earth is like finding a place to belong, crazily pouring it into Heng's body, refining his spiritual essence. Bang! With a muffled sound, Heng's ethereal body burst out with the power of a true immortal, and the surging Buddhist charm rendered the world, evolving into a Buddha's Dharma-like phantom, enveloping the void in all directions. I saw that the Buddha's Dharma appeared very illusory, but his body was incredibly large. It sits cross-legged on the auspicious lotus with a sky above its head, and thousands of scriptures complement each other, outlining its illusory body. The virtual shadow of the Dharma emits a hint of Buddha's true meaning, transforming into a brilliant Buddha's light shining on the land of the West. Wherever the Buddha's light goes, all impurities are eliminated, and the earth evolves into a pure land of Buddhism. The majestic Zen sound spreads to all sentient beings and resounds throughout the world. All living beings who listen to the Zen music of Buddhism feel extremely peaceful in their hearts, and even have an impulse to convert to Buddhism. Heng practiced the method of preaching in his dream and manifested the illusion of the Buddha's shadow, with a tremendous momentum that resonated with Western believers. In the Sakyamuni hall, the sage sensed the breath of the Buddha and his eyes showed a look of surprise. His gaze fixed on the position where Heng was. This is the true meaning of Buddha. Although his breath is still weak, it is very pure. Unexpectedly, Heng, who had only practiced for hundreds of years, had already mastered the method of enlightenment in his dream, and he had also sensed a hint of Buddha's true meaning, elevating his cultivation to the realm of true immortality. His intelligence is too terrifying, isn't it? With a sigh, his face showed a stunning expression. As a sage of the heavenly way, he knows everything inside the spirit mountain like the palm of his hand. The sage learned that Heng had already started practicing the method of proving the Tao in his dreams hundreds of years ago. At the beginning, he gave Su Heng the method of enlightenment in his dream with a completely trial attitude. The sage did not expect Su Heng to cultivate this divine skill within tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years, but only wanted the latter to give it a try. After all, the method of proving the Tao in dreams is the divine power of saints. Even some innate powers require a long time to cultivate this divine skill. Su Heng is just a follower after tomorrow. It will be even more difficult to cultivate this divine skill. However, the fact greatly exceeded the expectations of the leading sage. Su Heng not only practiced the method of enlightenment in his dream, but also took only 500 years. For 500 years, if it is to cultivate an ordinary divine skill, then there is no problem. The key is that Su Heng cultivates the divine power of saints. 500 years of cultivation into the divine power of a saint, this is unheard of in the world of floods and wastelands. If this news were to be spread, it would be enough to shock the entire life of the flood. The most crucial thing is that Su Heng also realized a trace of the true meaning of the Buddha. Although the true meaning of the Buddha is still very weak, as long as we continue to comprehend, our future achievements will definitely be limitless. Such a powerful Buddhist talent can only be compared to the word demon. At this moment, the sage was deeply shocked, but more was expected. Su Heng, in the realm of true immortality, can comprehend a trace of the true meaning of Buddha. If he continues to comprehend, does it not mean that he can attain the position of Buddha when he reaches the realm of the Great Luo Golden Immortal or the Quasi-Holy Realm? The sage's heart was filled with ecstasy, and even the sage was praised with a smile on his face. Congratulations to senior brother for winning the title of Good Student. In the future, as a Western Buddha, there will definitely be a place for my nephew Su Heng. Both Zhunti and Jieyin take it as their responsibility to prosper the West, and they are delighted to see Su Heng's outstanding Buddhist talent. The sage nodded slightly and smiled, saying, Su Heng has an extraordinary understanding, but it will take a long time to attain the Buddha's fruit position. Junior brother, we both need to take good care of him and move forward. As the words fell, Jieyin and Zhunti smiled at each other, both recognizing the deep meaning in their eyes. Su Heng triggered a Buddha's vision, which not only sensed by the two saints, but also by the disciples of the medicine master Maitreya. They gathered their minds and explored the vision in the void. P.S. Secondly, kneel down and beg for flowers, as well as evaluation tickets and rewards. During the new book period, we hope that readers can stand up and support us. Thank you. Chapter 010. Medicine Master Maitreya, Exploring Buddhism. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 010, Medicine Master Maitreya, Exploring Buddhism. In the side hall, Maitreya sensed the Buddha's vision and his face showed a surprised expression. How could it be that junior brother Su Heng actually comprehended a trace of the true meaning of Buddha? Maitreya exclaimed in amazement, his eyes showing disbelief as he gazed towards the illusion in the void. As the eldest disciple of the Zhunti sage, he has excellent footwork and intelligence, and often receives special attention from his master. But in this situation, Maitreya did not perceive any true meaning from the Buddha. On the other hand, Su Heng is just the youngest disciple of Western Buddhism, and he is not outstanding in his ability to comprehend the true meaning of the Buddha first. This made Maitreya feel a bit dissatisfied in his heart. At least I am also the second senior brother of the Western cult, but I was actually compared to the younger junior brother. Why not take this opportunity to exchange ideas with junior brother Su Heng? Maybe I can also understand the true meaning of the Buddha. Maitreya felt a sense of urgency as he saw Su Heng comprehend the true meaning of the Buddha. If it were an ordinary moment, Maitreya would never pay too much attention to Su Heng. After all, the other party's footwork is not strong, and even if they have some Buddhist talents, they are not harmful and may not be able to catch up with these innate beings. But now, Su Heng first comprehends the true meaning of the Buddha, which makes Maitreya's heart tense. If he is surpassed by Su Heng, his position as the second senior brother in the West may not be stable. Although the Western religious community is very harmonious, they also have a competitive relationship and are secretly competing with each other. Su Heng had a faint trend of latecomers taking over, which made Maitreya feel a sense of danger. So he thought about using the excuse of sparring and exchanging ideas with his senior brothers to explore Su Heng's reality. If Su Heng only happens to comprehend the true meaning of the Buddha but is not proficient in Buddhism, then it will not have a significant impact and everything will remain the same as usual. If Su Heng made great progress in Buddhism, the situation would be different. We must find ways to improve ourselves. Moreover, by exchanging Buddhist teachings with Su Heng, he may also be able to comprehend the true meaning of the Buddha. Maitreya thought of this and immediately stood up and walked towards the side hall where Su Heng was located. Meanwhile, in another side hall, the pharmacist sensed the Buddha's vision and a strong smile appeared on his face, sighing. Junior brother Su Heng is able to comprehend the true meaning of the Buddha, so he must have a considerable level of expertise in Buddhism. I happen to have nothing to do, why not discuss Buddhism with him? The pharmacist and Su Heng are both disciples of the guiding sage, and their own junior brothers have come to understand the true meaning of the Buddha, which is naturally a good thing. In addition, the pharmacist struggled to comprehend the true meaning of the Buddha, but Su Heng did. He could fully utilize the other person's insights to enhance his own Buddhist attainments. Thinking of this, the pharmacist immediately stood up and walked towards Su Heng's side hall. Sunlight, moonlight, and the great trend also perceive the Buddha's vision, but they are practicing in seclusion, so they do not pay too much attention. Inside the side hall and palace, Su Hengduan sat on the auspicious clouds, with the Buddha's Dharma shadow blessing his body, emitting boundless Buddha light throughout his body, illuminating the void in all directions. The powerful immortal aura envelopes the entire hall, imprisoning the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. After practicing for 500 years, Su Heng finally mastered the method of enlightenment in his dream. Although it was only his first glimpse, he was able to exert powerful effects. You should know that the method of proving the Tao in dreams is not only about practicing martial arts, but also a powerful divine power. In the future, when facing enemies, you can also drag them into a dream world, suppress or trap them. Su Heng's cultivation of the method of proving the Tao in his dream has also improved his own strength to a certain extent. As for his breakthrough in cultivation beyond the realm of true immortality, it was only when he practiced the method of proving the Tao in his dreams, he realized the true meaning of Buddhism, which was accompanied by an improvement. Although Su Heng's cultivation of this divine skill seems easy, he really has to rely on himself to cultivate it. Without hundreds of thousands or even millions of years, it is impossible to achieve it. The reason why he was able to refine this divine skill within 500 years is mainly due to the help of Hongmeng Yanwu Mirror. Hongmeng's martial arts performance mirror clearly demonstrated the key points of this divine skill, and there was also a process of guiding the sage to practice, guiding Su Heng's cultivation. In this situation, it is only natural for Su Heng to spend 500 years practicing the method of enlightenment in his dream. Of course, if Su Heng wants to rely on this divine skill and ultimately achieve complete enlightenment, he still needs to constantly cultivate. Only when everything in the dream world is fully presented and transformed from emptiness to reality, can one attain complete enlightenment. Su Heng has a mirror of Hongmeng practicing martial arts in his hand. He wants to cultivate the method of enlightenment in his dream to a perfect level, but it is only a matter of time. The method of proving the Tao in dreams is truly the divine power of a saint. Even with the blessing of the Hongmeng practice mirror, it takes 500 years to cultivate. If someone else cultivates, it may be more than 10,000 times more difficult. Su Heng sighed and had a profound understanding of the difficulty of the method of proving the Tao in his dream, as well as the powerful effect of the Hongmeng martial arts mirror. Su Heng calmed his thoughts and immediately put away the mirror of Hongmeng's martial arts performance, restrained his own breath. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded outside the hall. Did Su Heng, junior brother, ever end his cultivation? The voice of the pharmacist suddenly sounded outside the hall, interrupting Su Heng's thoughts. Upon hearing this, Su Heng's expression was slightly stunned. He didn't know what important matter the senior pharmacist was coming to find him at this moment. No matter what the situation is, since senior brother is here, Su Heng will definitely open the door to welcome him. Su Heng restrained his thoughts and slowly stood up, about to open the palace door. As the hall door opened, I saw the pharmacist and Maitreya standing on either side, each with a smile on their faces, waiting outside the hall. Su Heng originally thought that the pharmacist was just looking for him, but he didn't expect even Maitreya to come. He immediately saluted and said, "Junior brother, I have seen 2 senior brothers. I have been busy practicing and rarely walk around. I haven't had the chance to visit my 2 senior brothers yet, so I didn't want my senior brothers to come and visit me first." Su Heng's attitude is enthusiastic, and his words show a sense of care. Upon hearing this, Maitreya smiled and said with a big belly, "Junior brother, don't be too polite. All the senior brothers know that you are diligent in your cultivation and only focus on the Tao. Whether you look at us or not is secondary. Nowadays, my junior fellow apprentice has made great progress in cultivation, and his realm has caught up with the general trend to the point of waiting for others. This has put a lot of pressure on us, junior brothers." Maitreya saw that Su Heng's strength had improved, and secretly sounded the alarm for himself. Su Heng is not strong enough to quickly catch up with the trend and others, but it is difficult to guarantee that one day he will not catch up with himself. Naturally, he will think in his heart and strive to improve his own strength. Upon hearing these words, the pharmacist nodded frequently in agreement with Maitreya's words. Su Heng practices diligently, so naturally they dare not slack off. Su Heng didn't know Maitreya's true thoughts, so he just thought it was a polite remark from the other party and immediately responded. The 2 senior brothers have deep connections and extraordinary intelligence. It's not easy to break through the realm. Junior brothers have achieved so little, how dare they compare it to others? This is not the place to speak. Please come to the hall for a moment, senior brother. Su Heng said and quickly invited the pharmacist and Maitreya into the palace. The pharmacist and Maitreya nodded slightly and immediately followed Su Heng into the main hall. P.S. Third watch, kneel for flowers, and there are also review tickets and rewards. During the new book period, there is a guaranteed 5th watch, and I hope book friends can support me more.